And we are live on YouTube.
All right.
Instagram.
All right. Instagram.
What's up?
Artists are getting paid millions of streams and still not getting paid. AI is dropping full albums overnight, and some of it isn't even real artists. And, you know, right now the music industry is starting to look less like art and more like content farming. We're breaking down AI music, Spotify, royalties, and who actually gets paid. I'm Sam Highmarsh, co-founder of Interstellar Audio Machines. And before we jump in, if you're watching on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, do the thing, people. Like, follow, drop a comment, feed the algorithm before it feeds on us. And we're going to give it Vince first. Quick shout out to the Rig Doctor. Speaking of Vince, if your pedal board looks like a spaghetti monster, hit up therigdoctor.com. Use code IAM10 for 10% off. Fix your board and fix your life. It's roll call, my peoples. Vince, what's up, baby? Vince is at the chairman's desk breaking down the tech side. How you doing, bud?
I'm doing great. How are you, baby?
Man, you know, besides my family sucking the life right from me, I'm doing just fine, man. It's just,
you look like your will to live is just glimmering.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's just right here. Just like the veil is very thin now between me and the dark side. We got Alex. Alex is in Deep Space Archives, pulling perspectives and adding balance to the galaxy. What's up, my bro?
Just trying to balance it all out, my brother.
That's right.
It.
That's right.
It.
Bringing it in. How was your day?
Day was busy all over the place. I was LA, San Diego, downtown, you name it. I was all around SoCal.
Just hustling.
That's it. Slanging and banging, baby. Slanging and banging.
Hustling. And we got P in the building too with his press pack segment, knocking down some other current industry news. I heard you had a day too, man. We're just all having days, huh?
It's a day. Yeah, it's a day. But I'm here. And wait, yes, it's good now.
Your effects worked. Yes. And as always, my man, hooking it all up. We got Charlie over there. Say hi to the people, Charlie.
What's up, good people? How it do?
And if you didn't know, Charlie is a good drummer too, guys.
He's a very good drummer, but I don't recognize him without a beard.
Yeah,
You did shave. You
myself.
are looking very boy-like, which Nambla might approve of.
Whoa.
Here, wait a sec. Let's do a Charlie special here.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Look at that.
There you go.
Hey now.
Yeah, look at
Get
that
it in there.
chiseled jaw. Handsome devil you.
Handsome,
you guys are so sweet.
friggin' devil.
Yeah.
All right, let's jump into it, guys. Let's start with our first segment, the signal from the void. People are canceling Spotify right now. I don't know if you guys have seen this, heard about this. I'm sure you have, but not because they suddenly hate streaming, right? But because a lot of musicians and listeners are starting to ask a bigger question. Who is this platform actually serving? Puneet, hit me. What are you hearing about this?
It's not serving us, okay? It's not serving us. It's not serving artists. It's not serving anyone, except when you bring up on your phone, I want to listen to Taylor Swift's, compilation record, and then she delivers, right? But it's not. It's cancel Spotify, Apple lossless.
Ooh.
Wow. That's
He's coming
I'm
out.
throwing this out. Cancel Spotify. Just update your settings on Apple, get lossless media, and go from there.
So why cancel Spotify though? I mean, what's the real reason? What were we talking about? Let's get into it.
Well, they updated their pricing at a level that I'm not comfortable with, and it's not going down. It's not passing down to the artist.
Got it.
They just when Apple did lossless, and they've done lossless for a long time. So if any hi-fi people out there, listen to Apple because you get the WAV file basically, and Spotify, dumbs that down to an MP3, and you pay your $14.99, and you go to the party and you dance and you feel good. But us as artists, no.
So there you go, right from the horse's
That's
mouth.
it.
Which is important. So, I mean, there's a lot of artists that are leaving Spotify, though, which is kind of interesting. That's a new movement that's happening. Right, Vince?
Tell me more.
Absolutely. I mean, they're not paying anybody anything. If you're an artist on there, I believe it's the threshold's 1,000 monthly listeners or less. You get nothing. They just do not pay out at all.
Nope.
So it screws all the indie artists, all the guys who are trying to make it, all the money that goes into being an artist and producing music. There's no return on it. So I'm a huge opponent of Spotify. I hate them with a passion. Their CEO is a lot of bad words that I don't want to say here.
Yeah, interesting guy. Very interesting.
Yeah. He had the audacity to say that it costs $0 to
We got
Whoa,
we got a
that
little
was
bounce
that was
back.
that space echo right there, bro.
Yeah,
That was me.
I think that's the ghost of Eric.
You're the ghost of Eric.
Almost had a heart attack.
Yeah. So everybody knows Eric is on tour again, trying to be the cool guy on tour.
God.
Yeah, let's talk
Yeah.
about that CEO though, right? I mean, that CEO is making some interesting moves. He's investing in, I think, some sort of like, what is it, military
Yeah.
kind of.
Yeah.
Drone stuff.
Yeah,
Like,
you know,
contractors
Invested
and
in a
whatnot,
drone
yeah.
company.
yeah, and I think that's the reason why a lot of the big artists are leaving, because they're like, we don't want to be a part of like, destroying cultures,
Yeah.
right?
So if he's
Like
making
let our
all-
music,
another
let
hot
our
take.
music do it, but like let's not like blow somebody up, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
and they're reporting record profits over the last several years and paying artists nothing. So
Yeah.
it's insane.
So that's my thing. So yeah. So whatever side of the spectrum, I mean, why are we, as a company, if this is me speaking from a music angle, if you're a music streaming platform, why are you even messing
with
in
defense?
anything else? And just start a whole nother business entity, dude. What's going on?
Yeah.
Just
Well,
so
Because-
at least give us the illusion that you're trying to keep it clean.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
I heard about him investing in the military side of things, but is that him personally, or is that being done under Spotify?
So what I
Oh,
think he's doing,
that's a good
he's
point.
he's leveraging his clout to help raise money to like millions of dollars for defense projects,
well,
essentially.
geez.
So
All right.
and I'm sure he threw in a few million himself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, who's to
Being-
say? But
Being the CEO of this company,
correct.
it just sends a really bad message. Like you said, like people don't want to be involved in that. So
And
It's
especially
just
with
like
young
that
kids
message.
these days, right? I mean, listen, my son's an engineer, and he wants nothing to do with defense. He's like, I don't want, I will like starve before I like gonna make some go work for a company, and work for a defense company or whatever. Any sort of military contract, a company that contracts with the military or the United
Yeah.
States or whatever it is to make bombs to go kill people.
Mhm.
I'm not going to do it. So I think it's kind of a movement that's going on, and I'm glad artists kind of stuck up for that for their music, for their fans that kind of feel this way.
yeah, agreed.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely that component, and that's a big piece of it, a huge piece of it, obviously, for some of these bigger artists.
Yep.
You guys were mentioning, or Vince was mentioning, like the smaller artists, the indie artists, like you got to have 1,000 fans. Like, man, I don't know. Maybe today it's a lot easier to get 1,000 fans, probably on socials and digital platforms and stuff like that. But let's say you even get there and you're doing something, right? But here's a royalty reality check, if you will. Like, let's break down the math real quick. This is the thing that I've been hearing even before, like this whole collusion or like mixing of
Collusion.
commingling collusion. You've seen the
Collusioning?
show.
Collusioning.
What's the football show? What's it called? Oh my God, that's where I remember it
The
from.
league.
The League. Thank you. I was drawing a blank. I saw it all right there. Forever and clean.
Swim, step. Swim, step.
But yeah, man, it's talking about the money. Royalties basically on these platforms are streams, right? Multiplied by what? An average payout or a percentage. So like if you get 500,000 streams at roughly 0.00 whatever it is, 4 cents per stream, that's a few $1,000, right? Like that's nothing. That sounds decent, maybe, I guess, if you're like a struggling artist until you realize, okay, how hard is it to actually get 500,000 streams in the first place, right?
Yeah.
You tell me.
Vince,
How hard is
you're
that?
you're
That's gotta be-
currently out there in the trenches, dude.
Is what
Yeah.
what are we talking about? What's the level of artist that's getting 500,000 streams? I mean, could it be just what do
Billy
you guys
Corgan.
To
think?
me, I'm only seeing that out of people who are actively touring. Like if
Okay.
you're dealing even with a regional artist, I mean, most of the time they're in just the thousands of monthly listeners. I mean, just streams
Like the
alone,
situation I'm in,
same kind of thing.
basically, like nothing.
Yeah, it's you to be at 500,000 streams, either total or just on a single song. I mean, you have to be doing this full time and on the road.
Yeah,
Got it.
and like that's $2,000 split between a band, a manager.
Yeah.
If you have a label, are you bringing anybody on the road?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And think about it, like most of the time nowadays, it costs anywhere between 3 and 5K to produce a single. So 500,000 streams, and you're not even making the cost of one song back.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's insane.
So I mean, basically, like 500,000 streams basically becomes lunch money, right? Real
Essentially, yeah.
fast.
That'll
Pretty
just
much.
basically cover maybe a couple days worth of expenses if you're on the road.
So we've got homeboy CEO just distilling it all down for everybody. We got CEO having a little collusion time from the league, collusion with his defense contract buddies.
Yep.
We've got the platform just completely. I mean, call it a hot take. They're ripping off any artist who's using the platform, right? I mean, they're going to come back and say, "Well, we offer you blah 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 exposure and all this stuff," but come on, man. I mean, it's clearly the inequity is huge. And now here's where it kind of gets weird. I've heard a lot about growing conversations around AI generated like ambient tracks, them trying to pull some stuff like we're just going to do like these chill generic kind of playlists, anonymous artists kind of flooding the streaming platform area. That's not real music. I mean, right?
Yep.
Am I wrong there?
No, you're right.
No.
I agree. I agree.
Somebody put in the right prompt into an AI generator, and now you have a song. But it's music, but it's not real music.
I mean, at least you can't copyright it, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So
They at least
even
came
if
out
you
with that.
do, like imagine you build an entire identity around, some AI, whatever, like be it art, like literally graphics or music. I mean, anybody can just use that for anything. So I don't know. What does that mean? Like,
Yeah, I mean,
problem-
well, I'm cool with that. Like, I mean, even back in the day, and this is back in like early 2000s to like say between like 2005 and like 2015, when I was really active doing stuff, again, dating myself, like there were definitely companies that were like, okay, hey, we're making quote generic music for TV or backing tracks. Like, this is not a soulful piece of music necessarily. I mean, it'll evoke emotions and be good enough, but this isn't something like you're going to be quote remembered for. And that was understood. And there were catalogs like this, and you wrote music for that. Again, humans wrote music for that purpose. And that was a cool way to generate, cash, side cash. I mean, I know a lot of guys that was their job. They got in with a company and they created a catalog. But the way this seems like now is like they're trying to put out music that's basically based off of all these artists' work, right? This generic AI stuff, which has gotten pretty good, which we talked about in another, podcast. It's a great songwriting tool for beginners or things like that. Great ways to kind of demo out things on the cheap to get you to a certain point before you actually put in the really, really hard human work of getting in the studio and busting your ass and all this stuff. But right, like music's basically now becoming an inventory, like versus where in the past, yes, there were times when you would go off on a tangent and you would write for a catalog for TV shows, like I said, to come in and pick and choose. Oh, I want this to be a meet cute moment and have like a pretty song into the background. Or I need it to be like, this bloodthirsty like battle scene or something like that. But now they're trying to pass it off as, it seems to me, real music. Real music. Right?
The problem is that the consumer doesn't know the difference most of the time. Now, if you know what you're listening for, then you can identify the AI stuff, but the everyday consumer now probably couldn't tell.
I think that's the scariest part. to be
Yeah.
honest. Then they just keep rising to the top. They keep getting into those playlists, and then they just keep pushing everybody else out. I've watched like many documentaries on YouTube from a bunch of, smaller artists that are just, they have no idea what to do.
Well, and another aspect to this that I heard about too, and this I really want to get your guys' take on this, are these AI stacking tracks, right? Where some creators are specifically or allegedly stacking like these massive volumes of these like ultra short tracks. They're really designed specifically to maximize your streams, right? Get your numbers up, get it out there in a big way, but minimize royalty obligations, right?
Yeah.
Like, is this an innovative thing or is this kind of exploitation? Boom, go.
I think it's past.
I'm waiting for that Vince temperature to go up.
Oh, I'm already hot.
He's hot, baby. He's steaming hot.
I think it's a little bit of both, right? I think,
Yeah.
because every artist,
See?
every
He's
project,
bringing the balance.
has its own sort of, kind of point of why they're doing it, right? So you're going to have stackers that just want to, like you said, stack the deck. And then you have people that are sort of like kind of learning and that's kind of how they learned how to do this kind of stuff.
Mhm.
So, I think you're going to get a blend of both. But I think the bigger challenge with this AI stuff is that, in going back to royalties, is that even if you have a plethora of catalog and people that are sort of stacking these tracks and creating these AI songs, the other thing that Spotify is also doing is they're doing these like ghost artists, right? So it's kind of in the vein of what you're talking about, and they'll use the algorithm to kind of bump those up within that genre of music. So essentially, and they own them and they're creating them. So essentially, they don't have to pay that 0.0004 cents per stream to an actual artist who actually deserves that stream. So they're kind of bumping them out through the competitions, like stacking the deck and just getting, just essentially not providing the artist, platform that they well deserve to be streamed on, which is kind of interesting. So
Kind of like, finish your thought. Sorry.
yeah, I think that piece of it is like another reason why artists are leaving Spotify, to bring it back to the top of the question. It's just like they're making it really artist unfriendly, I guess is the best way to say it, and it's all about commerce at the end of the day. So I guess record labels were kind of like this at one point. People used to go, that's why the birth of indie labels came out, right? So I think it's kind of interesting now that we're sort of, this type of behavior sort of it still doesn't change, but it's in a kind of a new environment now.
So
That's what I guess.
You said something that sparked a thought here. Do you think that this is solely something that Spotify came up with, or do you think that the major labels have a hand in this too?
That's hard to say. I'll put it this way. I think if you have your own independent streaming service like Apple, Spotify, whatever, there's not too many governing sort of rules or bumpers that will sort of try to make sure that there's a even playing field.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure, unless the record company is also an investor in Spotify or one of these streaming platforms. Maybe you could argue that, but I'm not sure. But I know these guys have a lot of power.
Yeah. I could see it being as sort of a collaborative thing where, like the industry plants, right? The labels put these guys out there to rise them to the top and make a bunch of money off of them. And I could see that being the case too with Spotify and AI music. It's not something I'd put past any of these labels.
Yep.
For sure. I mean, it's like a new version. What I was going to say is it's like a new version of like old school payola, right? Like those with the ways and means and the control decide what you listen to, right? Mm-hmm. I like that point, Alex, about the bumpers. We'll definitely circle back to that one for sure. But all right, so that's kind of like the big picture, if you will. But let's kind of look at it from like the tech side. I want to toss this over to Vince from the tech side, the chairman's desk, if you will. What do you think, man? Are we entering like an era where software matters more than hardware from a tech side of this type of stuff, like the AI side?
Yeah, I do. I think that's a big thing because anyone can get software, right? Anybody can access Suno or Udio or any of these AI platforms. Anybody can download a DAW. Anybody can download Pro Tools, Logic, GarageBand, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
And more people that are working on their own stuff are doing so on their laptop at home. Nobody's going to a studio to do this stuff anymore. And because it's all software based, like everybody has access to it, which is great because now more people can create. But it also leaves, gives way to, the AI music and all this stuff. So part of it too is you see a lot of these like big engineers who are, they came up in big studios and working on big consoles and whatnot. And a lot of them are only working in the box now with plugins and software.
Right.
Hardware is not needed anymore. So it's definitely becoming a thing where software is now accessible to everybody and it's starting to replace people. It's replacing musicians and bands and engineers repeatedly.
Interesting.
So it's great, but it's also a big concern.
Do you think, I have a question on that. Do you think, sorry, Sam, I saw you revving up over there, but my quick question
No,
is,
you're good, dude. Jump in.
do you think that the sound quality is suffering at all because of it's so straight digital and, the analog kind of warmth or
Yes.
vibe is gone?
I think so. But I'm also a big hardware fan. I have a whole home studio full of outboard gear. I love the way that it makes it sound. But again, if you're just listening to a record and you don't know what you're listening for, you can't tell.
Right. But the consumer is going to essentially, if that's what we're listening to, and every other record sounds like that, right? So it's like, who cares at this point?
Exactly. And
Right.
the problem too is like all these big engineers who are now completely in the box using only software, they're making things sound great still. So is it a sound quality issue? I think it's a personal preference, but I do think that being that more people can do it and have access to these same tools, people think they know what they're doing when they really don't.
Got it.
So
Got it.
I go back to what we kind of chatted about this when we were talking about AI from a different perspective, from a gear perspective. Last chat, man, I think there's going to be like with anything, like, right? There's going to be an overcorrection first where things are going to shift crazy in this direction. This is my own personal opinion. This is what I think. It's going to shift crazy in this direction. Everybody's going to get really fucking bored pretty quick. Yeah. If you have any inch of humanity inside you, this type of music, again, is going to be cool. But man, like, are you going to go to a show and watch like a computer play music and have that really good experience?
Happens all the time.
But how many people go to a rave to go watch a DJ perform? It's really different.
Yeah, I guess that's true. But like, man, does that okay? Well, then from a player's perspective, actual musicians who pick up a physical instrument, is this screwing everybody? Like, are there no more musicians anymore? Because once this gets so good to a point and it just absorbs all this information and that nobody's going to want to see a person, like a cute girl playing a guitar and singing a sweet song or some crazy assholes jumping off their amps and smashing their guitars. Like,
I don't think people care anymore as long as they have somebody to look at on stage. If you have some pretty pop star on stage and she's just playing the backing tracks and singing along, I don't think people care about that anymore.
So at least the vocalist can survive in theory.
Yes, you have to have somebody on stage, but I mean, a lot of these people use a real band, obviously. But if it's a backing track or a rapper on stage, like, nobody gives a shit.
So to your point, okay, Vince, and I'm sure you guys saw this, but did you see Justin Bieber's performance at Coachella?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know.
I heard about it.
I missed it.
Did you see that? Did you hear?
What's the hot goss?
Just YouTube scrolling.
Yeah, you could. So yeah, YouTube scrolling, and then, it was the actual track on YouTube of him as a young performer, and then he was like, harmonizing in his deeper octave voice over, or singing along with the song, and kind of cut it. Half. How about this one, guys? This one? And then everyone's like seeing him scroll, and they're like, "Whoa, yes! Oh my God, was great, boo, boo, boo. And then he goes, then he hits it. He starts to sing a few words, a few lines, does it, stops it, and then finds the next one.
Damn.
So I
There's
heard,
like-
I heard about this, but I saw somebody's take on this and the reason why he did it.
Okay,
A lot of people are saying it was lazy, which I get.
that's maybe the point that I was trying to make. It's
Yeah.
like, so like, do we need a band anymore? Like Sam was saying, like, what's going on here? It's like,
So-
this is a pretty popular guy playing at Coachella.
Allegedly, the reason he did it is
Allegedly.
because he split with
It's my
his
favorite
label,
word nowadays.
and he has to
Oh,
get their
yeah.
permission to perform the songs. Where if it's just streamed
Yeah.
off on YouTube live, he's not performing it; he's just singing along with the YouTube track.
That's
So
what happens when you sell your catalog for
Yeah.
100
That's
million.
wild.
Yeah, so he couldn't perform it live.
That's
No.
that's what I'm seeing. Like
You
that's
can, though.
speculation. Is he has to get the label's permission?
But you have to
because
get permission. Of course, they give him permission because that's going to put money in their pocket, right? Unless they're trying to screw him. I don't
Well, he
Because-
sold the
what's the
catalog, so he'd have to probably pay them royalties to perform the songs.
So
That's-
what's the difference if you were like Wilco playing, the band The Weight cover live?
Well, that would be a club gig that no one would go to.
Perhaps. But great band playing a great song. But
They are a great band.
Yeah, great.
Absolutely.
So I guess if he played it at a larger venue, Panit, then do you think that he would have to get clearance to do that?
Well, yeah. I mean,
Ask the publisher, we're going to play your song, whoever
Mhm.
owns the song now.
I mean, that's
performance at Coachella?
that's the appropriate channel. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. So there you have it. So
That's
I don't
cool.
know. Is it lazy though to do that? Is it like leaning too much on technology? Is it? I mean, and just giving everybody and the crowd was very satisfied with that performance. To be honest,
Here's a
That was
take. I'm hearing it from your description, right?
Yeah.
I'm a musician and I prefer playing live and I prefer that. But for him and his fans and where we are as a music industry and where his genre and where he kind of lives in the pop,
Stratosphere.
yeah, there you go. I think it was kind of smart. I think it was a different take on something. If I'm a purist at heart, it's lame. If I'm like Debbie and Cindy and Johnny, who love the pop music and are pre-programmed to love anything scrolling, and they're already getting dopamine hits just by seeing a screen of somebody,
Right.
with one of their artists, it's probably a good show for them.
Yeah, I mean,
You know what I
it
mean?
definitely was. Everyone seemed satisfied and was really excited. I think if anything, what it did do is it pulled everybody into
A discussion.
a discussion, but B, I think that people felt that they were kind of interacting with as he was scrolling, and he landed on a song, and when they sort of as a more popular song got closer to the scroll, he kind of hit it.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So they were interactively a part of the show. That's kind of
He's-
smart.
He straight up Vegas them, dude.
There you go.
He slot machined them
Yeah.
all day long
And
in
guess
real
what?
time.
His production was nothing, right? I mean, he didn't have to pay for
He
any.
just stacked cash on that gig.
Cash
He's
on
like,
that.
There you go.
He's
It all
he's
makes
like,
sense now.
production's nothing.
Yes.
I just need a screen. I need you to hook this up live.
Yeah.
I
Off
need
an
a
iPad.
mic.
Somebody
I'm
keep
not
the
going to pay
lightning to
royalties.
HDMI
I'm just going to
adapter.
pocket this cash.
He got 10 million. He got 10 million for that performance.
Jeez.
There you go. 10 million.
Wow.
It's insane. And I mean, it was lazy, yes, but
Also smart.
I don't know. I'm not a huge fan anyway, so I don't really.
Yeah, for sure.
You're not a believer?
I used to be, but when I was younger.
Yeah, we
used to
could probably
belong.
dig up a picture of your hair before it was as long as it is now. When you were in mid Bieber mode.
We don't
what I
talk
mean?
about
Yeah.
those days. I've
Yeah.
heard those.
But I mean, let's go back to the thing. He's kind of, let's say, in this AI world or this new crazy kind of digital world we're living in. That's a great example. He's kind of insulated, right? Because he
Sure.
was a really good vocalist. Whether you like him or not, the dude can sing, right?
Yep.
He can perform. I mean, there's a reason he went where he went. I mean, granted, he was plucked off the web and then given resources and pushed and stuff like everybody is, or fed to the machine. I'm not saying that that's necessarily easy either. Obviously, the kid's had a hard time, but he's been successful. So, but again, he was insulated in that, you know, he's a good singer. He can survive. If you're Justin Bieber's guitar player, like, clearly you're not on that stage. From what you guys are telling me, there was no production, there were no musicians, there was nothing. Nothing. So it's cool for a one-off. If that was him, like, on tour constantly, like, I could see the backlash, like, dropping fast. Like, I'm not paying X amount of money for this type of stuff, but I mean, like a festival date, like, I get it. You know, try to be creative and different.
Made sense.
For sure. All right. Well, I'm trying to think now. Since we kind of went Spotify, we went gear, we got off on the Bieber tangent. You know, I'm thinking maybe we move into deep space archives with my man Alex. Alex. So Alex, switching gears on the people real quick. I think they need a bit of a history lesson, if you will. Again, we must provide balance. You know, if you were a musician and you were doing the damn thing, you know, kind of pre these streaming platforms, you know, and you talked about guardrails and bumpers and things like that. You know, how did artists used to get paid? Like, let's give people like kind of a snapshot of then. We gave them a taste of now. Contrast that old versus new.
Right. Well, I mean, it's weird to say back then, but it's still currently happening now because there's still terrestrial radio going on. You know, and there's the new thing is that you have streaming satellite services as well as you have these independent streaming services, right? Like Spotify, Apple, etc. But back then, and it's still happening now, you have ASCAP and BMI that basically they would do these like royalty, like these sort of licensing deals, you know, fees from the stations basically. So you do a spin, the record station would spin your record, and then you would get essentially a royalty for that. It was pretty much for U.S. songwriter and publishers were paid on terrestrial, you know, radio. And that's kind of how it worked. And, you know, it was while the recording artists and singer-songwriter musicians, they would receive, you know, back then, dude, it was like interesting because the labels wouldn't get any money per se, right? It was unless they were written into the sort of publishing deal, and some labels did steal the publishing of artists, right? I mean, so we knew that as well. But for the most part, this format was aimed to serve the creative people. Okay. And so that's what these governing bodies would do. They would essentially monitor these things, track them, and then you would get your payment. Now, the problem with some of these things, though, it would take forever to get paid, of course, back then. So it wasn't like you were getting a weekly check, you know, or whatever the case may be. I think back then it took a long time to kind of tabulate and calculate what was going on and turn in the reports and so forth. So you probably wouldn't see a check really from these type of publishers, ASCAP or BMI, for like a year or so, since once your song was actually played on the radio.
Wow.
And that's kind of how it worked for a long time. It still does to this day, I'm sure. But now things have moved into, it's like moved into now these streaming services, XM radio. You have also these independent services, right? So it really comes down to the difference is now, so if you are essentially if you're on a streaming service that you can select your song, that's basically going to like an Apple or to a Spotify. And that's when it comes down to, there's no more licensing agreements involved whatsoever. It really comes down to the business model of that particular service, that independent company. So that's why there, you know, as we got into Spotify, that's why there's so much stuff going on. These guys are so busy because essentially, you know, what they're trying to do is just make money at the end of the day, right? So they're going to angle, they're going to do these kind of weird deals. They're going to, you know, and probably do so well that they get bored and start doing other things like, you know, invest in defense companies. So, you know, So you have that. Then you have you have also, which is pretty cool, the sound exchange. So sound exchange today is the equivalent of this digital equivalent of BMI or ASCAP. So what they do is they manage the digital streaming for anything that's happening on like Sirius XM, in your radio, in your car, XM satellite, any of that stuff. They manage all those digital streamings. So but they do it the right way. They essentially work with they work with the government, they worked with the labels, they work with, and they work with about almost 1 million creators that is signed on. And I remember these guys would come to our festivals at Rock the Bells, and we'd sell them a booth. And the goal was for them that they really wanted to get close, like backstage, and then have very passively and organically come up and like have artists come through, and they would say, "Hey, are you getting streamed on XM radio or Sirius radio or whatever?" And there's, "Oh yeah, it was, yeah." Well, here, sign up, and then what we'll do is we'll track it for you and cut you a check, which is really cool. So they were a little bit more aggressive and more modern in terms of really trying to like make sure that they're tracking correctly, paying the artist correctly, and more going back to more of that kind of terrestrial kind of model, if you will. But I think their payments are a little bit more frequent than they are in terms of like the terrestrial side deal stuff. So that's so that's kind of like what's happening these days. I think personally, let me put this out to you guys. I mean, if you're in a band, and would you rather be on a very large format like Spotify or like Apple that would give you a lot of PR push because you have a lot of listeners and people can really sort of select and downstream it, or would you rather be, and I know what the answer is, but or would you rather be on like kind of like a XM streaming service and then back to radio to really sort of where people are actually like care about your music, and there's like contracts in place and publishing deals in place to ensure that you're going to get what you deserve for your creative efforts?
Yeah, it's tough. Vince, I'm gonna let you jump in on this one first.
I mean, I'd have to say streaming, unfortunately, because you're casting a much wider net. Streaming, like, everybody streams music. Nobody listens to the radio. I mean, unfortunately, unless you're 45, 50 and up, nobody listens to the radio anymore.
Yep.
So it's you're not appealing to nearly as many people. So I'd rather a wider net and make less money than the alternative right now.
And then I guess at the same time, so if you go with the streamer, and it's like you can kind of look at it as like your music publicist, if you will, right? Because it's got such a big megaphone in terms of an audience that they can select and sort of use an algorithm to kind of figure out, suggest that you may like me as an artist, which is cool. But then you're really sort of you're going to take the hit on the royalty, but then you better have your business together so you can start hitting the road and making your money on your merch, right? I mean, they kind of put you in a corner.
Yeah, and you become the traveling T-shirt salesman at that point.
Right. Sam, what about you? I mean, were you experiencing a lot of that merch, sort of like sell merch to get to the next?
100%. 100%.
Next gig?
But I mean, so all this stuff was still, when I was doing it, I was in that in-between phase where the industry was trying to figure itself out. The 360 deals, like you mentioned, stuff
right.
like that was very popular.
Yep.
Still part of that, more the former, if you will. Eric, welcome in, buddy. Oh, he made it to the hotel. He made it safe. Part of that former kind of way of doing things. But even those deals were, in my opinion, were screwing the artists. And then you did have the streaming stuff, which at the beginning was like Vince was saying, I was very much for. I was like, streaming was really cool because you did get to cast a wide net to way more people than you probably could have gotten necessarily, like if you could have gotten on XM or something like that. I still think there's value in all those things for sure, depending on seriously genre specific stuff too. But what good? I'm trying to see what the upside is if you're streaming nowadays as much, because your audience isn't in it for the long term. I mean, again, these are just my opinions. I don't think the streaming audience is in it for the long term necessarily, unless you become the top like 1%. Again, not trying to be like political, but the top 1%, right? Like you've like, even if you got signed and you're on a record label, like you're still not making money, and a million people listen to your song. Holy shit, that's a lot. That's awesome. But you're making a few $1,000. Divide that, like that's nothing. That's nothing.
Right.
So now you're relying on, like we did back in the day. Now you gotta sell merch. You gotta make at least $100 to put gas, or pay your portion of the bus, whatever your budget was. Like we got to pay the bus driver and the gas for the bus, or whatever your agreement was to even drive, or van, or whatever you're in. Like, you got to hustle that way. I guess it is. I guess a good kind of question would be like, are you trying to be a flash in the pan? Are you trying to be like just run in cash grab? Are you looking for a long-term commitment? Because I just don't see it being super successful unless you're like one of those like blessed top 1% people.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. It's tough because there's stories of people getting, streaming or using their voice, and then something goes crazy viral.
Right.
And then they get picked up.
I think that the trick would be, it's like anything else, right? You got to be diversified, right? So I think the goal would be you have to be everywhere, and try to, hopefully one of those lanes is going to pop, or and then influence the other one, I guess, at the end of the day. But you just got to set your expectations correctly, because you're not going to get on these independently owned streaming services, you're not going to get a lot of money, but you will get maybe a lot of attention, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then at that point, it's going to help propel you and keep your band healthy, as you hit the road.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Eric. I saw Eric on here. He was saying, I disagree about streaming. Vinyl. What did he say? Vinyl is at all-time high, selling more than when vinyl was a thing. Okay.
Right.
He said being involved with a record label, his artists bank on those vinyl sales, not streaming. Interesting take. That's more, and correct me if I'm wrong, Eric, you can comment on this. That's more of an indie label take on it, right? Or what would you consider your artist? Well, Vince, jump in. What were you gonna say?
I'm blanking now. Jesus.
Yeah, the gummies kicking in, right?
Yeah, right.
Ooh, it's night time.
No, like you kind of, like you were saying, you have to kind of diversify. You have to do everything. Like it's being kind of in the trenches and playing locally and regionally. Like every show, it doesn't matter if you're playing to 5 people or 500. You still got to set up the merch booth and do the thing. And it's such a pain. Like you can't rely on streaming. You have to get actual fans who are willing to spend money on you, and that is so hard now. But you have to play the game. Like what it was 20 years ago is now what it is today.
Yeah.
It's so different, and it's so much more work, if you ask me.
Yeah. So the category, guys, of this is like, so you're talking about non-interactive radio style services, right? Versus interactive. So interactive is Spotify, Apple. Basically, you're interacting with the platform, selecting what you want. Non-interactive is just like regular stuff. You just passively listen to things.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how, those are the two categories that we're sort of talking about. So, but I guess, between those two big categories, like I said, there's a ton of these things, right? There's a ton of these services that you should probably be on, like to your point, Vince and Sam, that if you're not, then, you're potentially not doing yourself a service. You never know what's going to hit, what lane's going to pop. But set your expectations accordingly, because you're not going to get rich off these things. That's for sure.
And the problem now is that Spotify is such a stranglehold that you have to be on there. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've had a promoter ask, well, what do your Spotify numbers look like?
Yeah.
Really?
On a gig, they want to know what your monthly Spotify is, or what your streams are, whatever it may be. Like, it's a factor now for you to get anything. So
to book a gig, you're saying?
Yeah, they want to know your follower count and your monthly listeners. And if,
because to them that translates to physical bodies coming to the venue.
According to them, I guess.
Yeah, no, it's interesting.
And obviously, that's not the case. But I have seen all these success stories where people are like, oh yeah, no, we're just a social media band. We just put out music every couple months, put out content, blah, 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 blah. And then, they rehearse but they never play a gig out until somebody catches wind of them. They go viral, and their very first gig is them playing to a few thousand people, and their Spotify numbers jump and all that. So it's all a game, and it's just.
So there you go. You got to be everywhere.
Yeah.
You got to be everywhere.
Yeah, it's a full-time job.
Oh, I'm tired just thinking about it.
Dude, I am too, because I'm like, man, it's like, I'm actively putting music out there. Vince is actively playing and touring. Eric's out there touring. It's like, if you're coming up, it's like, what? Man, are you just writing? I don't know, man. Again, it goes back to that thought of like the industry's going to overcorrect with all this, and then eventually at some point people are going to still want to hear real bands. I think there's still people out there. I mean, I see so much music of these younger kids, like 18, 20s, still pumping it out there. Like Warped Tour is still a thing. There's still young bands coming up, getting discovered and championed by old punk guys. So I mean, I think it's out there, but it seems really cool, but also like almost like even harder. Like it's easier and harder at the same time. Does that make sense?
Of course. Do you guys think it's like you owe it to the young artists, the youth of today, the young musicians, to kind of like help them understand the importance of life before AI? And maybe understanding the benefits of that, so to speak? Do you think that?
I mean, the problem is that the way it is now and the way it was 5 years ago, 10, 15, 20, it doesn't matter. Like what's happening now is what these guys need to be aware of. And how things were done 20 years ago, it's irrelevant now because it's not how it's done anymore. So
yeah, 20 minutes was right too.
Social media, AI.
That kind of worked, right?
Yeah, the only reason I say that is because I got a buddy Rick, who just sold his company. It's Royer Labs Microphones.
Oh, not yeah.
Yeah, and they just sold it. And the three main factors why they sold is because of the tariffs was one.
Mm-hmm.
He said AI was another. And then
really?
And then he said, and I said that too. And then he said the other factor was the economy. Okay. So when we got to AI, I revisited that and I said, AI, what do you mean by that? Because that struck me kind of odd too. And he said, well, the difference is that what I'm saying, and this is kind of going back to my question that I posed to you guys, is because he says, like kids today that are recording music at home or listening, not so much recording music, but listening to music, they don't care about good sounding records.
Yeah.
And we're a boutique company that cares about recording great tones and great music,
right?
And to capture that. So if they're not interested in buying that or care about that, then like we have no market, we have no one there. And then of course the economy, this, that, the other. So they actually have sold. But that was kind of interesting that he said that. That's why I go back to saying, like, do we need an ambassador? Do we need somebody who recorded something analog and said this, and look at the difference between this. It's almost like having that vinyl resurgence that happened of like, listen to this record now and on vinyl, and how it almost does something to you, when you listen to it. It's a difference there. So that's why I say maybe there's, I'm not sure if we're beyond that point, but I don't know,
so, man.
I kind of venture to, I dare to venture to like maybe, we should start planting a few seeds here and there, because great company just went down didn't go down tubes, they sold it, but he's like just gave up on it. He's like, after being in the business forever, he also started matchless amplifiers, like that was his thing too. Yeah.
And it's insane because I mean, Royer made such a huge impact on the industry.
Yep.
Like you can't go into any studio and not use a Royer 121.
Yep.
But I mean, it sucks to say, but he's right. Like the young kids, they don't care too much about quality. They'll just throw up an iPhone mic in the middle of a room at band practice, record it and release it and call it good.
Yeah.
And the people that want to listen to them don't care that it sounds like shit.
Yeah.
So is that a bad thing though? Do you lean into that? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is the next step of that?
I mean,
Right? Like, I don't like that. I don't want to
Yeah.
listen to iPhone recording in a $20 an hour,
Yeah.
practice space. That's where that's why my band writes our music with that stuff. But like, I don't want to download that off Apple Music
Yeah.
and listen to it on the car drive for 45 minutes. So I don't know. You got to like lean into something.
For some of these young kids, like I see it locally a lot in the Houston scene, is they don't have the resources to go to a studio and record. They're going to do everything at home and just release it for the sake of releasing it. They don't care what the quality is, as long as they get something out there. Because at that point, that really is the name of the game now. The people at the lowest levels don't give a shit about quality. As long as you are present on social media and you have music out there on YouTube and Spotify and Apple Music, you're already playing the game.
So you just got to get on the map.
Yeah, I guess so. And I hate to say it, but that's where we are.
So again, singers necessarily are kind of semi-insulated. Although, dude, I mean, like Suno and all the AI stuff, I mean, it sounds. I mean, if that's the bar we're setting is that low, then the Suno stuff with fake singers and fake everything, AI generated stuff is going to sound, to somebody who doesn't know any better, it's going to sound just fine.
Honestly, the quality is getting there. Like, I mean, if I listen to an AI song, I know it's AI, but to the everyday consumer, they probably couldn't tell the difference, and it's scary. And that's why a lot of people are just releasing it and getting away with it.
Yeah.
There you have it.
Oh my goodness.
Release it and get away with it.
So much fun.
Release it and get away with it.
That sounds like a Saturday night.
Release it and get away with it. Yeah, that's like LA in the 80s, right? Yeah. But that was cool, man. That was interesting. Alex, that point you brought up, you kind of brought it up to now with Royer and Matchless, like, them being more, I don't want to say old school, but from, a time before,
right.
And doing this again, man, I think there's going to be some for everybody. I think this stuff's going to I think the Spotify's out there and this and that, eventually government might get involved if people get mad enough. But that's a slow moving process, as we've all seen.
Yeah.
Will there be an ethical backlash more so than just the mainstream artists, like, jumping off of it? Will there be more guardrails, more things that speak to this new kind of way of doing the music business, like Alex was saying? Something that kind of ties everything together in a nice, neat bow. I don't see that coming anytime soon. So good luck if you're a new artist that's out there trying to do it right now. Sounds like you just got to hustle. Like,
you got to
we
hustle,
were all
and
doing today.
you just got to get your name out there as fast as you possibly can, and what it sounds like.
Well, before we get out of here, we got to jump into our last transmission because we're going to wrap up here soon. But this kind of ties into what we were just talking about, fellas. What is one prediction if you had to put your Nosferatu hat on? Or maybe not Nosferatu. No, who's the guy?
Nostradamus.
Nostradamus. Thank you.
Yeah.
Not Nosferatu. Nosferatu's like, yeah. Charlie's laughing like immensely at me. That's worth it right there to see him chuckle that hard on video. That's the clip that everybody's gonna walk away with. No, Nosferatu. Jesus Christ.
Have another drink, buddy.
All right. So what's one prediction? Where music industry is headed in the next, 5-10 years. Hot take, Vince with the beard, go.
I'll say that AI is going to be a part of every songwriting and recording workflow in the near future for young artists.
Yep, I believe that for sure.
Eric,
Yep.
I mean, no, Eric's not on here. Sorry, Alex. The 4-letter dude. My brain. The gummy's kicking in for me too, man.
Attaboy.
It's okay, buddy.
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I've been known in some circles named Eric too, so don't worry about it. You can call me Eric. It's fine.
Eric's my street name.
That's my street name.
I'm all about that life, you know.
That's my hustler's name. I would say this. I would also say that Vince is definitely, that's gonna for sure, just that horse is like left the barn, so that's gonna continue. But I will say this much: I think that there will be some purists, and I'm gonna try to again bring some balance into this prediction here.
Yes.
That I believe there will be some artists and some individuals that will sort of like really kind of create a movement, just like vinyl made a comeback.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that, you know, people will do care about making good sounding records, and that there's definitely a craftsmanship to that. And I think that if an artist who is very revered and loved, you know, kind of like has a popularity, I'm just going to say who's got a little bit of grit, whatever, throw a name out there like a Jack White, let's just say, who understands about making records and has a record label and likes to release records. A group of his buddies or so forth will sort of like do something maybe that would capture the attention of these young artists and be like, you know what, let's try doing something like this and going down this journey, and you know, at least one time,
yeah,
to see if we enjoyed it and if it made a difference in our careers or something we're proud of. That's what I think.
I agree with that. It feels like there's space for it. Charlie, what about you, man?
I think there's going to start being like mass exodus off of some of these platforms. And I don't know if it's going to be something like a Bandcamp or whatever, but I think people are going to be so, I don't know, they're just going to have such a bad taste in their mouth with all this. They're just not going to want anything to do with it. And, you know, I came up going to gross, sweaty basement shows, and like, you know, I just want, going back to like getting a real legitimate experience, I want it.
So you're saying there's a chance?
There's a
chance, especially in New Jersey. I get tons of posts. You know, New Brunswick, where Rutgers is, there are constantly basement shows. So
love that
and stuff like that. So yeah,
love me a basement show.
Yeah, glad to see it's still alive.
Look at Charlie towing the Bruce line, man. Look at you. Oh, Jersey.
Yeah, strap on your blue jeans, man.
That's it, baby. We love it. Yep. Oh, yep.
I
there
got
they
them
are.
on.
So
were those stonewashed?
Are those? I can't see. Yeah, are they stonewashed?
Are those stonewashed?
Don't miss
I think so.
Bring them back, baby.
Hold on.
Give him the booty, bro.
Come on.
About to get us kicked off.
Give us a twirl. Come on.
Yeah, no.
You know,
That's how
I
you
like
get for
it.
free.
It actually went
else on
out of,
Spotify.
focus too, which was good. He made it even sexier. Added more weight to it. You know,
leave something to their imagination.
That's right.
For me, you know, I think we've already kind of said this. You guys have already kind of hinted at this a little bit. But, you know, like you were saying, Alex, not Eric. Alex. Authenticity, right, becomes that premium product. Whether it's, you know, through the underground channels, like you said, there has to be a movement to kind of fight back. You know, it's what Charles just said really kind of gives me hope, right? Because he's a little younger than me, in case you guys didn't know. I mean, I know I look beautiful, but for him telling me he came up on, you know, basement shows, I'm like, hell yeah. See? That's awesome.
That's what
if you've never been to a basement show, you better go, son.
Yes.
Hopefully there's some around you, because it's and you know what? Just put your iPhone in your pocket and just fucking rage. I said it.
Watch your mouth.
Watch your mouth, so
throw your body around in a damp, gross, disgusting, wet basement. You know, there's concrete and rocks everywhere. Just throw yourself at a wall. You know.
Okay.
Yeah, dude. Just feel it.
Best I've ever played.
So much fun.
That's
so much fun.
Yep.
Just drenched, dude. Because it's a shared collective thing. And that's the part of it. As long as there's humans on this planet and we're the ones absorbing this music, I think there's going to be that component that needs to be fed. Whether it gets beat down a little bit for a while, it's still going to be under there percolating.
Mm-hmm. I don't think it'll ever go away. It's died out a lot, unfortunately.
It has for sure. But that's where people like us at Interstellar Audio Machine selling analog pedals to creators and musicians out there. Hey, we're still around. We're still here.
right.
We're still doing it. And we're doing it for you because it means everything to us.
That's right. We're pushing it for you.
Hell yeah. So if you guys made it this far, thanks for sticking around. Please make sure to drop a comment. Where do you guys land on this? Is AI helping music? Is it slowly replacing it?
Yep. Do you love Spotify?
Do you hate Spotify?
Do you hate Spotify? Are you an artist that's getting ready to leave Spotify and you just need a reason to go?
We need the hot takes. And do you prefer Charles with a beard or not? Let us know.
True.
Subscribe,
Yep.
follow, whatever platform you're on, and we will catch you guys on the next transmission. As always, keep chasing tone, protect the art, my people, and we'll see you. Peace.
See ya.
Oh, yeah.